5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everybody.
We're back.
Yes. It's been a long week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is Sunday night for us, Monday morning for you guys. We have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
And but I want to start off by saying that today was our first reopening of House of Rest.
Yes.
Yeah. It was
Thank you, Lord.
didn't know how it was going to go, because we know there's a lot of church family that isn't ready to come yet. So, well, first of all, nothing's going to change as far as online.
Yeah.
We were online before. We're going to be online after. Only thing different is now. Oh, now you're yawning. Usually it's me. Normally, we've been online before. We're going to continue to be online. But one thing that did happen during this, lockdown was that we raised our quality as far as our video streaming. And
Amen.
I'm really excited about that. And we're going to continue to hold that quality, from this point on.
Amen.
So, but we did have to, the rows at the church had to be 6 feet apart from each other. So we had to eliminate a lot of seating, but we still ended up with a good amount of seating. I thought it was going to be less, actually.
Yeah.
Me
too.
So, but yeah, it felt a little awkward preaching with people. I mean, it's been 2 months. Let me see. You're like, wait.
I know, because I don't know how close you want me to get here. Yeah, it did feel awkward.
Yeah, it was,
I was like, I don't even know what to say right now. Because I just said, I miss you guys so much.
We got so used to having service with just us two and Abraham doing the media. And I guess it's weird how you just get used to it. I remember in the very beginning, it was awkward, like the first 2 services doing it with no one there. But we are adaptable creatures.
Amen.
I've adapted to living in a little cell before. So you just adapt. People adapt. That's why people can live in Antarctica, and people can live, right on the equator.
Yeah.
Where it's hot, because we just adapt.
Yeah. Amen. With that said, it has been a very hectic week, getting everything together, and then as of Thursday, we had to prepare for Thursday because we were going to have a house full of pastors. Mm-hmm. My friends from SoCal, who actually are the ones that put together the feeding event where we gave out groceries to families, and we were able to feed families and everything. They stayed here with us, so I had a total of 3 couples, which is 6 people here, and then I had an additional 2. So we were just kind of like, trying. I had the women staying in one room, the men staying in another room, and it was just, a lot of people, a lot that we had to make sure that we were available. And then on top of that, I worked on Wednesday, I worked on Thursday, and going to the church every day, because we were put in a position to prepare the church in 1 week instead of 3 weeks that you were planning.
Because we thought we were going to reopen mid-June.
Yeah, we did.
So all the work and renovation we're doing, we had spread out over 3 weeks so we wouldn't get burnt out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So, and it all had to be done within 1 week instead. And then we had these pastors coming. And then on top of that, we had to prepare for the feeding. I got to say one thing, though. It's our first time doing something that large.
It was huge.
We ended up with close to maybe 17 pallets, about 17 pallets of food.
Some of them 6 feet high.
They were super duper high. And the thing is that I know a lot of the time, some places when you go, they just give by the cases and they just give them out. But because we only had those 17 pallets, we had to break them all down. We had to bag individually bag like hundreds and hundreds of grocery bags. Families got their cars loaded with so much, but we wanted to give them variety of stuff because it was really good stuff that they had provided us. They provide us with poultry, meat, fish, milk, juice and vegetables, a vegetable box, a really nice one,
eggs,
bread, eggs galore, like, organic eggs. And there was just so much variety. And we didn't want to just pass out, oh, let me give this, family a box of this, and then they get stuck with a dozen of the same thing, So what we did is we broke it down. And then on top of that, they barbecued and fed the families as well for those 2 days, Friday and Saturday, which they had. The first day was barbecued chicken with rice and beans and then waters. And then on top of that, on the second day was carne asada and a little bit of chicken with some rice and salad. And every time a car would come and we'd be like, okay, how many do you have in your family? I got 5, I got 6. And we'd have to fill all those dishes, run them out, come back and get to the next car. And it was a lot, guys. But now as we sit here and it's said and done, it felt, it was beautiful because of the hearts and the lives that were touched.
I got to say that this has I've never been tested like that for a ministry, for an outreach ever in my life. I am exhausted. I don't know how we did 3 days of this.
Yeah.
A month ago when we talked to the pastors from Los Angeles, he said, hey, I want to do this before the churches open up. So when I made a date with him to come from LA to get all this food together, to do all of this, everything we did this weekend, I did not anticipate the church would be open. So I'm like, oh man, it's easy because church ain't open. So we can just completely dive into this thing and, cook the food and put the bags together. But like you were saying, everything came into one weekend, this weekend. It was hard, but it was so rewarding.
It was. You just look, you can be tired and so exhausted at something. But the thing is that when you look at the mother who pulls up in her car and she has 4 little kids in the back and then 1 older little kid in the front, and she's just looking at you and she's just like, I don't even know how to thank you for this. And you see the tears and I'm just like, no, don't cry. I'm like, don't cry. God knew exactly what you needed and that's why you're here. And to see the smile when they drove off and everything, it's what kept me going and what kept everyone going, because it's like the fruit of our labor. And it's like, thank you, Lord, because he kept renewing our strength as we were going.
That's crazy.
And here's the crazy thing. The moment we got off of the car here, it's like we're both ready to fall on the floor. We were all walking like penguins by the end of the night because our legs were in so much pain.
Yeah.
But you know what? You wake up the next day and you're just so blessed and you're overjoyed because you know that you're going to be able to see that again. Sure enough, like even today on Sunday was the last day and all we did was serve hot meals because we were pretty much done with all the groceries. And there was one mom and I said, how many plates do you want? I said, listen, you can have a max. I don't know why. And she goes, well, I have 3 more kids at home, myself and my son. And I said, okay. I said, well, the max is 5. And she says, you don't even know. My son was telling me, Mommy, I'm hungry. And somebody shared. This is the power of sharing, guys. Let me tell you what it is when the power of sharing. David got on. He did a live.
On Facebook.
And he told people, listen, there is so much food. Please share it. And somebody shared it to a food site, where people kind of go on and they barter and they do things. And if somebody needs something, they go and they share it and stuff like that. Well, somebody shared it on there. And this is where this young lady seen that. And she came and she said that her son was telling her, Mommy, I'm hungry. And she had 3 more kids aside from him. So I went and I think I grabbed like 15 boxes of food, of hot food. And I said, here's lunch, here's dinner, and here's tomorrow morning if it has to be tomorrow morning. And she just broke down crying. I know personally, and I know what it is for your child to be hungry. I was a mom at the age of 14. I know what it is to sleep in my car and not have somewhere to go. I know what it is to be homeless and to be in a motel and to do that because I went through that with my children. And when I seen that, those are the first moments that I thought, like, Lord, even in those moments, even in those hardest moments, that was me always looking for the next program, for the next meal program. I'd go stand at pantries. I'd go stand at places that were offering food. It got to the point that my children loved fish so much because I was literally staying in a motel next to a fish store. And remember I told you that I sat there and I literally would go and take $1.75, and that's how much one big fish. And it makes me think about, the loaves of bread and the fish that Jesus multiplied, because I would go and get one fish, one big old tilapia fish, and they would fry it for free. And I'd come home and that's what me and my kids would pick at. We'd pick at one tilapia fish. Yeah. So seeing these women go through there, these single moms, and seeing the families, it made me think of those moments that the Lord pulled me through because there were organizations like this, because there were programs like this.
We had never done anything like this. I had never been involved. Not to
this extent. I've been involved in a lot of feedings, but I've never done anything to this extent of giving like these pallets like this. I've done feedings of 350 people is the most we fed,
Yeah.
But never to the point where we did something like this. It was tremendous. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it was nice. It was great, and like there was men that came and I know this too as a man. Like you just spoke.
I'm glad you're going to share
that. You just spoke about women, and as a man, especially during this time, because a lot of Latino men, they are workers. They work. They will do whatever. They will do your lawn. They will go and work in the fields. That's where a lot of my family grew up. They will work in the factories, though, whatever it is. They will stand in Home Depot just to get some work so they can bring some food home to the family that they have. And when this pandemic started, work stopped. And many of them a lot of them maybe were undocumented for whatever reason. They weren't going to get no stimulus. They weren't going to get no unemployment or anything.
Yeah.
So you had men coming and saying, I said, hey, there's no work. He goes, no. He goes, I don't have work. There's no work. He goes,
I'm undocumented.
There's no work and I don't get any unemployment. And it's like, man, we would load them up. We were loading people up, like literally till their trunk couldn't close.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the first day. See, we never did this before. So the first day I was like, okay, let's give them 3 dozens of eggs. Let's give them this. Let's give them that. By the Saturday, we're like, man, stuff as many cases of eggs, as many cases of food, and many this and that. We were stuffing people's trunks to the point where they barely closed.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the cars kept coming. And this is it's amazing to me is the food wouldn't go down. Like God was multiplying. It was crazy. I know, I understand 17 pallets of food is a lot of food. But like there was one pallet that had all seafood.
Seafood and meats and everything.
Steaks and shrimp and pork and chicken, right?
Yeah.
And it felt like the more we would give people, there'd be more chicken. And there'd be more seafood. And
so we were just overloading bags because it was all frozen and really solid. So we were overloading. It was so much to the point where we couldn't take that stuff out of there to put it somewhere to put it into ice. We just had to go. How many bags of ice did you get?
I don't know.
I'm going to say 15 bags of ice.
The big 20-pounders?
And put those into just that big old crate, the crates that it was in.
It was a giant crate just
huge.
Full. And it wouldn't end. And it was like, there's times where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Because we would have like a whole line for 2 hours. And then we had rest.
For 15 minutes.
You know, and then another car. And it's like, man, okay, again, one more.
Just one more. Yeah,
let's feed one more. One more family. Let's feed one more, you know? And it's like you would get energy all over again to do it all over again. And it was an honor for the Lord to trust us to do this. Because that's what it is. It's Him trusting. Because here's the thing. God is never going to send anyone your way unless He trusted you.
And you know, I gotta say this. You know what was awesome, you guys? Let me tell you, and this is how you know when God is aligned in everything that you do. Our neighbor, he's seen that it was a hot day. On Friday was the hottest day.
Our neighbor at the church.
Yeah, our neighbor at the church just saw us with these tiny little tents. He literally pulled out a huge tent that was like 12 by 15, or I don't know. It was pretty big. And he had his son set it up and everything. And we walked out and he had set up this tent for us so that we can be in a shaded area. Yeah. Then the people across the street from us, because we were going to go buy cones, and I just went over there and I asked them.
They're like $30 each at Home Depot.
Yeah, they're expensive. They're like $30 a piece. Yeah, they are. And I went over there and I said, listen, is there any way you can have your people park on this side, because we're going to do a drive-by food giveaway. Food giveaway. And I just want to be able to use that area in front of our church so that way, they can go through. I said, I'll put some cones out. I'm going to go buy some cones so I can put them out. He says, oh, I have cones. So he gave me 4 of them. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side, here's another neighbor. This is a third neighbor.
The boxing gym?
Yeah, no, the boxing gym gave me 4. And then I went to another neighbor, which is an auto body place. And I just asked them the same thing. I said, listen, we're going to be doing a feeding. I'm just wondering what time you close, and just kind of give him the whole information. And he says, and I said, I'm going to, buy some cones and put them here. I have 4 right now. He says, look at these. How will these work for you? He had 9 more cones, exactly what we needed for that whole street. Yeah. And it kept things in order. We had a line of cars going down one whole block. Around the block all the way. And people were waiting, because I know that, what I found out after, I found out from some of the people that were there, they said that they have gone to other places. Yeah. And they had to wait for hours.
Oh, really?
They had to wait for hours, get in line.
And I felt bad because some of them waited like 30, 40 minutes yesterday.
Was it 30? No, maybe about 20 minutes. But, could be 30. But I'll tell you that they said that they were used to right now collecting food at places and wait a few hours. Wow. It's the whole process.
And they probably weren't getting as much as we were giving.
So, and in some places, it's not as much as we were getting. They said that they were getting a different stuff. Like a lot of bread, a lot of this, and a lot of canned stuff, and this was more fresh stuff. And we
didn't have any canned food.
We didn't have not one canned food, you guys, at all. There was nothing canned except for the orange juice, that little orange juice that you put in the freezer. That's the closest to a can that we had. But they were really, really blessed, because they said they had waited for hours, and here they didn't. And plus they got the hot food. That was a blessing. Because I was feeling bad that they were waiting, but they didn't mind waiting. They really didn't.
I mean, we were trying to hurry.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, we were trying to hurry. And so many people helped. We had people from other churches come and like, can we help?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Somebody that's seen us on YouTube who followed our Agustin.
Yeah.
Agustin, if you're watching, God bless you, brother. Thank you so much for just showing up. He just showed up out of nowhere, and he says, I just seen the video. He goes, is there any, can I come and help you guys? I just want to help you guys. Oh my God, you guys, he was such a blessing. This is the first time meeting this
well,
brother.
Here's what's crazy, right? Because at first he said, yeah, I saw you on YouTube. So I assumed that it was like you guys, like regular watchers. So he's there for like an hour, right? And I'm like, hey, so when did you start watching our YouTube? He goes, today. And
Just
I'm like,
today.
wait, what do you mean? He goes, no, I just saw your channel today. Like, I just saw your video today. He goes, I saw you do the Tony A interview. He goes, but I haven't watched your channel. And I'm like, and you just came and drove up? He goes, yeah. He goes, I stepped away from the Lord 5 years ago, and I want to come back.
That was so
you know,
beautiful.
so, and he just started helping, you know, and that was awesome.
He was there the whole day and just, God, it's overwhelming, guys. It's overwhelming because, on the other hand, you guys know all the chaos that is going around this world right now.
Well, in the United States, really.
Well, United States, yeah, but I mean, there's even other parts of the world that are seeking the solidarity with what's going on.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when all of that is going on, God is still moving here. Mm-hmm. You know. And when all of that is still going on, there's still a need. And when all of that is still going on, we are still committed to the things of Christ, and we still have our testimony, and we still are Christians. We're followers of Christ.
Yeah.
And we got to continue doing what he's called us to do. You know, today in Modesto at 11 o'clock, they started the protesting there. You know, right when we were in service. And, you know, of course, you know, being somebody that has the building, we're in downtown Modesto where it was taking place.
A few blocks away.
Yeah, a few blocks away. Of course, you know, we're going to think about it and be like, man, you know, what if things get dispersed? They come out this way. You know, there was police today when we were there. There was police all on that little where we had blocked everything off. They were right there because that's the freeway entrance. I mean, we can talk to them. My son went over there to talk to them. He at least gave them some water. And we knew for a fact, they were highway patrol. It wasn't even the policemen. It was highway patrol. Offered them some water. And, you know, and we were just praying for our city, man. We want peace. We wanted it to be a peaceful protest. Mm-hmm. We just wanted things to be right and safe.
Yeah, about 100 feet away from where we were cooking is a on-ramp to the freeway. And in other cities like in Los Angeles and San Jose, a lot of the protesters actually would go and block the freeway. In San Jose, I mean, hundreds of people went to the freeway, stopped the freeway, and started breaking windows of people that had nowhere to go. So I think Modesto anticipated that, wanted to stop that in case, because a lot of people did protest in Modesto in a rightful way. They were very peaceful. There's a lot of good people in Modesto, you know, and but you know, you never know. So they had to block all the on-ramps in case there was a group of people trying to go to stop the freeway. Like I said, 100 feet away from us is the on-ramp. So the whole time we were feeding today, we literally had 5 police officers within just 100 feet from us just watching. And like you said, you know, we ended up, Abraham ended up taking them some food and some Gatorades and
some water. Yeah.
So they were just, I think they asked them after, they're like, hey, so how did it go? Because they saw people just coming.
Yeah, they were just watching us. I think they were just sitting there watching us, you know, give out all this food and running back and forth. And I'm sure they were probably getting tired of seeing us like, shoom, 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 shoom. We're going back and forth. But you know what? I praise God because even if it just gave them a sense of a moment of something, you know, peaceful for a moment until, you know, we got to remember that, like, we had little Tina there, you know, we had one of our sisters there. And for us, you know, to know that her son's out on the line too, you know, was something.
Her son is a police officer.
Mm-hmm. And just for him to know that he's out there, you know, we had everybody in prayer. We have the protesters in prayer. We have everything because we also care about our city. We love our city, you know? We want the best for our city. We don't want to see any chaos. We don't want to see anything going on like that.
But I think, the main thing is there's this huge wall, this gulf. Unfortunately, there's bad people that treat cops bad, and there's bad cops that treat people bad.
Yes.
It goes both ways, but sometimes we lose, and the line of humanity becomes blurred. So I think it was awesome for these officers to be there waiting for the worst to happen, and they couldn't help but stare at this little small church and us going crazy, feeding people food. And I think what that did, I'm hoping, is that it brought down that wall so they can see the humanity, that not everybody is bad. Not everybody's trying to break the law. Not everybody, we're sitting there giving food to people that need food. At the same time, I love the fact that they did accept food from us, and they did accept some Gatorades, because it was a little warm, and they were just stationed out there, and there was no shade, no nothing. They're just standing there in the sun, and at the same time, when they do receive food, because at first they were like, no, we're good, we have Subway, but then after a while, seeing us just feed and feed and feed, one of them said, man, I could eat all day, I'll take a plate. And so that broke the wall from our young people, from our church. They're the ones that kept offering them water and food, and they kept turning them down. Yeah. And I think it was amazing that 3 of our young people went, and they finally accepted, because I heard the young people, which one of them is your son, say, man, they were so cool and chill.
Yeah.
So that, to me, now they were able to see beyond the uniform and see just another person. Yeah. So to me, I don't know, it's just an interesting thing, because literally 5 blocks away, people were starting to get rowdy. Literally from our church. We were like 5 blocks away. We're like 3 blocks away from City Hall, where people were gathering, 5 blocks away from the Modesto police station. So we're right there in the heart of the city. And here we are, and these officers, and they get to see something different.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool.
Absolutely. Because it teaches our kids too that we need to look at things, and you say this all the thing, in perspective, you know, and I think it's so important, because, like I told, if you believe in something, then you go and you speak, and you have the freedom to speak in what you believe, but we do it in a manner where we don't hurt others. We do it in a manner where we don't destroy others or destroy others' property and all of that, and I tell them all the time, if you believe in something, and that's good, believe in something, because it's so important, because it gives you something to reach towards. It gives you a goal, something to believe in. So do it, but do it in a way where no one is going to get hurt. And I wanted them to also not have, like you said, that wall and think that all cops are bad.
Yeah.
I didn't want that.
Because right now, the young people, that's what their peers are saying. Mm-hmm. That's what their peers are saying, and I think that it was really important. Yeah. Even for the young lady that was with us, for her to see the humanity in these people that are in uniforms.
But do I still talk to my kids, and I tell them, listen, you got to be careful with your reaction, your demeanor. I have to instill that wisdom at the same time, and tell them, because you are young men, you go out there, and if you give the wrong cop or the wrong police officer an attitude, we don't know what can happen. I can't be there 24 hours a day to help you. Yeah. I said, so it's important that you watch your demeanor, you watch all of that, and it's sad that it has to get to that point. But the thing is that it's important for them to respond, or not. Sometimes it's better not to say anything. I have to share that with my boys, because I realize I have a boy who's 18 now, and now a boy who's 23, and a 29-year-old. And I constantly tell them, hey guys, use wisdom in the way you act. Mm-hmm. Use wisdom. Talk to people the way you want to be respected. You speak to them with respect, and you watch your every move, and it's important to do so.
My dad always taught me not to fight with cops or argue with cops. He says, you're not going to win, first of all. If they're going to arrest you, you're just going to get, and if you act up, then you're just going to get beat up and still be arrested. So how do you want to go? You know what I mean? And it's like, my dad taught me to respect the officers. And here's the thing, right? And see, nobody wants to humble themselves nowadays. Nobody wants authority. Nobody wants to humble themselves. You know, as an adult, even been through prison, even with correctional officers, there's times where, see, on the flip side, you don't know how many people have been jerks to correctional officers. Everybody's a jerk. Everybody's mad because they're in prison. Everybody's in a bad attitude because they didn't get a second sandwich in their lunch. So now they're going to act out on the officer. So you can't expect them to see you different unless you show them something different. So there's times where correctional officers treated me like garbage. So either I'm going to become the garbage they think I am, or I'm going to rise above it. Amen. And once I rise above it, all of a sudden they see me for who I am, not for what 1,000 other inmates are. And that's how you gain respect. But sometimes you just got to swallow your pride and take it, because here's the fact that there is authorities over us. Police are authorities over us. So if I get pulled over, and I was speeding, why am I going to act mad? I was speeding. You know, why would I have an attitude? And even if, here's the thing, right? I'm going to be so real with you. There are people with faces like this that do robberies, that deal drugs, that do things. And if I happen to get pulled over and they pull a gun out because of a call they just got with somebody with an SUV, and I'm in an SUV, and there's a Latino man, you know, whatever. And see, here's the thing.
Who looks like an ex-rapper.
Yeah, here's the thing. They just want to get home to their families.
Yeah.
They're, you know, so it's like, if I act up, it just escalates. Here they are thinking I'm this person that just did something horrible. Now I'm acting up. So that raises a lot of unnecessary stuff compared to I stay quiet. I do whatever they want. They go to my ID. They're like, oh, this is the wrong guy. Sorry. You know, because here's the thing. If there really is somebody out doing something bad, why do I want to hold them up by arguing rather than just go through the motions so they can realize I'm not the right person, so they can go and find the person that did whatever this horrible thing the person did? See, that is called critical thinking. Yeah. Just, you know, come on, man. This is what we pay them for, to keep us safe. But if we're going to just cry and have tantrums and argue for every single thing, you know, and it's like a lot of, and I know I might get some flack on this, man. Well, hold on, I don't want to finish my thought. Don't forget your thought though. I don't want to. I might get flack on this. Is the fact that some people say, well, you know, they beat me this, they beat me that, but 99% of the times, you know that you acted smart, you acted out of pocket, you were in a situation that you shouldn't have been in. So come on, man, you got to think of this thing.
You know, it doesn't change the fact from what the whole world saw, you know? Mm-hmm. And, you know, here's the thing. There is a spirit of murder out there. And we got to remember that, because that's the way the enemy comes in. And when the world saw what we saw, that was demonic. That was straight demonic. Let's just call it for what it is. It was demonic. And see, and others are being clouded, and they're also being led by that demonic spirit, because there's a way of doing things, and doing things in a peaceful way without hurting innocent people. What makes that person that's out there doing the things that they're doing and hurting other people, what makes that person different than the police officer that was putting their knee on George Floyd? It's a demonic spirit. There's no difference.
Yeah.
We say that we're fighting to prove something, and we want the voices to be heard and everything, but it doesn't help when you turn around and you go out and you do evil for evil.
Yeah.
What good are you going to get out of that? Mm-hmm. Two wrongs don't make a right. And I really truly believe that everything started out really good, and everything was going really good. Protests were going really good. But then that demonic spirit just came in and took over.
Because the spirit of the Antichrist loves chaos.
Yes.
And it's like, here's the deal. There have been good people that have been killed by horrible-hearted cops.
Yeah.
There have been really good cops that have been killed because they pulled somebody over and they had no idea that was the last moments of their life. They're just doing their job. They have kids at home. They have a wife. They just want to do their job and get home. It goes both ways. There have been white men that have been killed horribly by Mexicans or blacks. There's been black people that have been killed horribly by whites and Mexicans. It's all the way around.
It's never ending, guys.
Because it's all a spirit.
To me, I'll tell you guys that I do take this personal too, because my brother was abused and disfigured and everything by a police officer, And here's the thing. He may have been doing wrong or anything, and maybe involved in the things maybe he shouldn't have been, but it didn't cause for him to be hurt and disfigured the way that he was at that time.
Yeah.
When he wasn't resisting, when he wasn't doing any of that. But yet then, he was so abused by the police. And my brother is now still doing 25 years in prison.
Yeah.
It's a hard subject to talk about, guys. It really, really is.
Yeah.
It's a hard subject to talk about.
Did I feel angry when I saw this man basically die on camera? Of course it made me angry.
Oh God,
of course it made me upset.
Yes.
Of course. But after a few minutes of just feeling angry, because that was not right. No man should have to die like a dog. Not even a dog. Nobody would kill a dog like that. Nobody would put an animal to the cement and listen to that animal gasping for air, much less a human being. Okay? That was horrible. But ultimately, I understand that the spirit of the Antichrist is alive in our world. And I understand who the enemy truly is to destroy and cause chaos. It's a beyond this person's heart, even though I don't know this guy's life, but I don't as horrible as I was, I could have never got my worst enemy and put my neck on my knee on their neck till they stopped breathing for 7 minutes. Even back then, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So I don't know. Only God knows the heart of this man. But I do know this, is that there is something much deeper than this man, than the police, than civilians, than the rioters, than the looters. There is something deeper. We do not fight against flesh and blood, but against principalities in high places. Scripture does not change just because of pandemic. Scripture does not change because of a protest or looters. Scriptures do not change. It does not change. That's why the Bible is our standard. It doesn't budge, because we fluctuate with our emotions, with our thoughts,
everything,
every which way. Yeah. That is why the Bible stands. The Word of God stands. The Bible says that He is the rock and the foundation, because it's never going to budge. And His Word says that we don't fight against flesh and blood, guys. Amen. So as believers, it is not our business. It is not our business to be out causing ruckus. Should we demonstrate? Yes, because injustices are done. And if that's how change is going to come, praise God, because is that not what Martin Luther King did? He brought about change without ever having to lift and ball his fist. And what happened? Change came. Cesar Chavez, for us, Latinos, for Mexican people, for Latin people, he came without balling a fist and made a change. How do I know? Because it directly affected my family as farm workers.
Amen.
You know, so don't tell me that change can't happen unless you burn buildings.
You know, burn the buildings of small business owners and people that are even just trying to survive this pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, that have worked so hard. You know, I seen a gentleman crying, saying, you know, there's these big businesses and big this that have insurance, that have everything. Why would you do this to me? Why? Mm-hmm. Why would you guys do this to me? What did I do to you? People are trying to survive. You know, these last few days, I thought we were hitting a specific community in our area. We literally hit a community where there was just like about 100 households. And when I began to see the different diversity of people coming, even middle class people and people that had nice cars, and they're like, I'm out of work.
Yeah.
I have been out of work and I didn't know how I was going to get groceries in my car. When you see that, people that you don't expect to stand in line for food, then you know for a fact that something's wrong, that this world is suffering right now. We're all going through this together, but yet then some think that it's just them. No, we're all still, even if we're not out there with you, doesn't mean that we're not all in this together. We're all in this together. Just like we talk about the body, the different parts of the body, you know what? There's going to be some parts of the body that are going to be praying in an accessory, that are going to be, you know, doing things in prayer. There's people that are going to go out there and march and let their voice be heard. Like he said, there can't be change unless you go and you speak. But then you also have people who are just causing ruckus and violence that is destroying all the other things that are taking place within the body. It's almost like a cancer that comes into the body and starts to kill off the cells. Well, you know what? We need to be stronger than that. And we need to rise up. And we need to be more in prayer. And we need to be more intercessory praying. We need to worship more. We need to trust. We need to speak positive words. Speak life into people instead of speaking death right now during these times. You know, I had one of the young girls, I'm going to go with my friends. You know, you don't belong out there. You don't belong out there. That's what I told her. You know better than that. You don't belong out there. And you know what? I said, when they start protesting right and peacefully, and they do it in the right way, then go out there and let your voice be heard. Mm-hmm. But when all this chaos is taking place and things are being destroyed and there's violence and all this, then our children are putting themselves in danger out there. Parents, please, 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 know where your kids are at. Right now, with everything that you see that's going on in all of our cities and all around these states, where do you think your teenager is at? Do you want to get a phone call that something happened because you said, oh, I'm just going to let them out after you see all the things that are taking place? Who is the parent? Keep your kid at home and wait till you begin to visually see that there is things peacefully taking place, and you go out with your child and let their voice be heard. And you go out and let your voice be heard with them. But don't let them out of your sight while all of this craziness is going on. Because the last thing we want as a mother is to get a phone call to hear that something happened to one of our children. Please be a parent and learn to say no, because trust me, they're not going to get so hurt after you say no. They're going to get over it.
You know. All right, guys. We're at 43 minutes. We hope you have a great Monday, a great week. We will be back on track now. I know we missed some days, guys, but I'm sure by now you understand why. We would never miss days of devotional for just nothing. Please trust that if you don't have a devotional, it's for a reason. It's not just because.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're back on track, and God bless you. Hopefully you watched the sermon. And
Amen.
if you haven't watched it, please watch it. It was our first reopening. And that's about it.
Yeah. We love you guys, and truly we have missed you guys. And we've been talking, we're like, oh my God, it's already late, we missed it, but we know that our family understands, because to us, you are a family, and we want you guys all to stay safe. Just, to think about before going out there, unless it's a peaceful environment for you and your family, think about it, put yourself in a position where it's going to be a positive outcome, not a negative one, because a negative one, you just don't know what can happen, because the enemy is lurking. Those spirits are out to destroy, and we just got to be ready.
Yeah.
We got to be ready, guys. But we love you. We'll see you guys tomorrow, okay?
All right.
Bye. God bless you.